Okay, so now that we have this out of the car, first thing we're going to do is remove the top cover. There's 8 10mm bolts along the side, and then we have this orange clip. So I'm going to undo all of these real quick. There are 3 bolts here. You do not need to touch those. And for this next part, we're going to zoom in and I will show you how to do this. So you're going to get your safety plug and use this tip, and this is what's going to take this off. So you're going to hold these 2 tabs, you're going to push this in, and you're going to move in the direction of the arrows on it. It's going to pop out like that. Alright, so now that all the bolts in the orange clip are off, let's take the cover off. And now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to disconnect all of the bus bars on this side. So you're going to want to get your pick or a flathead screwdriver and pry it off from the top and pull them out. There you go. So just do that for one side. Now we're going to take off all of these 8mm bolts here when we're done, flip it around, do the same thing to this side. Okay, so now that the bus bars are all taken off from both sides, we're going to actually remove the harnesses. So let's zoom in on this so I can show you exactly how to take it out. So the first thing you're going to do is lift up on this tab here, and that'll allow you to get these 2 out. To get these out, there's another little tab you push in on right here, and you lift up. It's this little tab right there. And you get the same thing for both sides. Now for this last one down here, it's got a clip just like this, so you got to play with it. Then it'll come out. Push on the tab for the harness and pull the harness out. And now you've removed the high voltage bus bars. Okay, so now for this part, we're going to remove the temperature sensor harness. So let's first remove the air dam, put it to the side. These sensors, just grab the little ears, pinch them, and they pull right out. Pull it back. Now to get this out, it's a clip just like that last orange one. There's 2 of them you need to undo. So I just undid the top one, and just undid the bottom one. And now you're going to see there's a wire that looks like it runs into the case. It actually doesn't, it just mounts right there. So get some pliers. I just chose 90-degree ones, and you're going to pull it out. This temperature sensor is not going to be used again, so it's okay if it gets damaged or something like that, but it should come out pretty easy. Now this is no longer needed, so it can be thrown away. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to need to unbolt this entire battery block from the case, and we're going to flip it over to do that. And we're going to take out all of these 8mm bolts along the bottom. Okay, so now we have it down to the block. All we got to do is take off these 4 bolts. They're 12mm. Sometimes they can be tight, so I'd recommend doing it with a ratchet to start. And now this is the fun part. They can all come right out. Okay, so now we have it totally disassembled. Here are all of your old modules. Go ahead and just put these back in the boxes, ship them back to us so you get your core refund, and let's start on putting the new cells in. Okay, so let's start putting this together. We have all of our brand new modules numbered 1 through 14, and we're going to put them into the compression blocks. And you want to start on the side that has this black little bridge right here. Notice this side doesn't, and that'll make it a lot easier. So let's start. I'm just going to sort all this. I'll speed up. Okay. Okay, so now that we have them in, before I tighten these down, I want to make sure that it's even on both sides. There's not more space on another, because these can get shifted this way, all the batteries, and the blocks that way. You want to make sure it's nice and right in the center. Then you're going to tighten them. Alright, so now we have it together in the compression block. Now we need to put the air dam in. You're going to get the air dam that has the foam all the way around it, where you notice the other one does not. And you're going to put it on the side that's going to be away from the fan. So we're putting it on over here. That's in. Now we're going to lay the case on it, and we're going to bolt the case to the new modules. Now to bolt this in, we're going to use the same bolts that we took out earlier from the old batteries. I recommend that you start all of these by finger and then use the gun second, because you don't want to cross thread. So let's put them all in. Okay, so they're all in and done. This gun is set to a specific torque so that we don't over tighten these. If you're not very familiar with the feel of a gun, or it's not adjustable for the torque, you might want to do these by hand, because you can over tighten them and pull the threads out. So now we're all done here on the bottom. We're going to flip it over and put it together on the other side. Alright, so now we're going to put the bus bars on. You've got a bag with brand new bolts and also brand new nickel plated bus bars. We're going to put these on here, and when we install them, we're only going to put them on a few threads, because we're going to have to take some of these off later. So I'm going to go all the way around and install the bus bars. Okay, so now I have all of the bus bars done. You notice that I left this one off. That's where this is going to come in later. So now let's do the wiring harness. This is the wiring harness, and notice that it splits in half. So one side is going to go to one is going to go to the other. This plugs into the orange connector on the computer. So I'm going to do that right now. And notice that you have a short one and a long one. The long one is going to go to the far side. The short one is going to go to the near side. Okay, so now we're going to route the wires over to here, but there's one thing I want to show you. I don't want you to route the wire in the wrong way, where it'll cause problems a year or two down the road with chafing. So let's take a look at how I'm routing this. Okay, so the longer one, we're going to flip it right back around and put it through here. and we're going to run it in between the computer and the plastic. If you run it over here, this piece of metal can chafe into here and cause problems down the road. So through here, there's nothing abrasive that will cause any issues. Run it, let it come along out the side, and this one's straightforward. There's no routing needed. Okay, so now each one of these wires, these are called voltage acquisition wires, and they're going to connect to each one of these to measure the voltage so the computer knows that the battery is good or bad or how charged it is. So we're going to run one of these to each of it. It doesn't matter which side it gets connected to, it's all going to be the same, but it works best if you put it on the bolt towards my right. It takes the slack out of the wire. The second one we're going to skip for now. That's going to come in later. So let's do it to all of these other ones, put it in. We're going to do the same for this side. And notice on this side, this first wire is blue. That first wire is going to go to the first cell later. Leave this blue one undone. This red this red wire is going to connect to cell number 12 and 13. Just like that. So let's get that done. Okay, so now we have all of them in. I left out the very last wire, the very first wire on this side, and then over here we left out the one that's going to go to this. So now let's get this taken care of. This plastic piece will come right off if you just pull it. And now you've got two separate wires. So we're going to bring them over here, we're going to flip them upside down and bolt them on. And we are not going to have a bus bar over here. Now we're also going to run these underneath this black harness. We do not want it over it. So we're going to put it underneath and screw it in. And then the second one, you're going to want to use this little voltage acquisition wire and put that on this one. Then we're done with that part. Okay, so now we're going to get the heavy gauge wires and connect that, and we're going to finish up the bus bars. So take the heavy gauge wires off. This old bus bar harness, put that back in your core and ship that back to us. This long one is going to plug in right here, the spot closest to the computer, and it's going to run all the way back over here. The short one, same thing, plug it into that one open spot, and it's going to go to this first cell. And run it through this right here, just to hold it in place and keep everything nice and tight and organized. And then this last voltage acquisition wire is going to go on top of this. So let's put that in. And same thing for the short one. Put it through the voltage acquisition wire, then in here, and screw it to the module. Okay, so now these should all be in. The next thing to do is with your hand, tighten all of these all the way down, and then we're going to use a torque wrench to make sure that these are tightened the proper amount so that it doesn't strip or break. If one of those breaks, it can present a big issue. Something else too, when you're tightening them, you want to have these wires pointing straight up as you torque them, because it's going to help everything line up earlier and have it very nice and clean in here. So let's get the torque wrench and tighten it. Okay, so now we've got the torque wrench. This is adjusted to 60 inch-pounds. Inch-pounds, not foot-pounds. and we're going to tighten all of the bus bar bolts on both sides. So you're going to tighten it until you hear it click, and then you move on. Don't click it 2 or 3 times to double check. Every time you do that, it tightens it a little bit more and it can cause damage. So just go until it clicks and just go to every one of them on both sides, and then we're going to be done with that. Okay, so now we're going to cover up all of the bus bars with these covers. You have 3 types, 2 long skinny ones, 2 big fat ones, and then some that are in the middle. So these first 2 big ones are going to go right here. These 2 skinny ones are going to go on the very ends on this side, and then these everywhere else. Before we do that, we want to route this harness down here. So you'll see there's a place where it can actually pop in, push it in all the way along, and then with this little L at the top, and there we go. Just do it all the way on both sides for all of them, and we'll be done with the bus bars.
Did you want to check audio?
Yes, we'll do it after we stop for this. Thank you for the reminder. Oh, these are actually different. There's a left and a right for the end ones. Okay, so now we're going to do the temperature sensors. They're going to go on the top. First thing that we're going to do is plug it into the computer. There's 2 spots we can plug this in on the computer. We want to put it in on the bottom one. So plug it in. The temperature sensor that we pulled out in the very beginning, this new harness has one of those. So let's get that guy and just push him in. There we go, all done. There's one plug here that needs to get plugged in above what we just did. That connector never left this, so it still should be in the case. So clip it in, and you'll see that there's 3 different lengths for the temperature sensors. So the shortest one is going to go on the 2nd cell. The medium length one will go on number 8, and the longest one will go on number 2. And then we have these, which we took off of the original harness, that are going to clip on here, and you run the wire through. All these do is it keeps these wires clean and organized. Okay, so now we have all the temperature sensors in. We're going to put this air dam on right here. have it clip right in, and now we're ready to put the cover back on with those 8 bolts. Just take this cover, line it up. You've got 8 10mm nuts. Put them on each one of these, tighten them down, and your battery is ready to be reinstalled. And that is it. This battery is ready to be installed. So that's it. Now this is ready to go back in. Thank you very much for watching. If you purchase one of the rebuild kits from us and you have any questions at all, we offer free technical support. So give us a call. One of our technicians will help you out with whatever you need. If you are looking to get a rebuild kit, you can visit our website, electronhybridsolution.com, or give us a call at the number below and we will help you out. Thank you very much.